Start recording. So, welcome you to my presentation. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Rajiv Sarkar. I am living and working in Dresden for last 12 to 13 years. You can say that I am an immigrant from India. So today I would like to talk about little bit information about some why Germany and why not Germany. So what I'm going to tell today, all the things I have experienced last 12 to 13 years during my presence, during my living in Germany. So that is what I have learned, what I have experienced. So all the information what I'm going to talk on the basis of that. It may happen that some of the informations or some of the ideas what I'm going to put forward may not be liked by many of you. So it is quite possible. So that doesn't mean that I am insisting to accept all my proposition or all my ideas about Germany in general. So let me begin with a few interesting facts about Germany. You know, Germany has a total population of 81 million. Yeah. So if you compare with India, my home country, where from I actually came, the India has now 1.37 billions of population. So that means the Indian population at least 15 times the population of Germany. Now if you take the population of United States of America, this is something 330 million. So that means that the United States of population is something 4 times higher than the German population. So Germany is an important member of European Union. It has a very strong member of European Union, both economically, in particular economically. And the Germany has the capital, state capital is Berlin. So you know that before 1990 the Germany was actually divided by the Berlin Wall, so-called, and the East Germany, that means currently I'm from Dresden, so that was the part of the East Germany, and that was really a strong influence of socialism. So that means it was strongly influenced by United States of so Soviet Russia. On the other hand, West Germany, so it was strongly influenced by United States of America. So that means the capitalism was really strongly strong there. Yeah. So then after 1990, so the two countries together becomes, so this East Germany and the West Germany joined together, and now we have a unified Germany. So if you take the total number of population and the area of Germany, so I think the Germany is really a densely populated country. So you know, many interesting facts you can find about Germany. So for example, you have 1500 local beers. So that means whatever city you visit, wherever you'll go, you'll always find a local brewery, and there they brew their own beers, and this is really very tasty and very lekker. Yeah, so very tasty. Oh, arguably one can tell that the first book was printed in Germany. Yeah. If you visit many parts of the Germany, you will find that at least more than 2,100 castles. So it's really very nice. And of course Germany is a export based country. Yeah. So Germany's economy is totally depends on the export, mostly depends on the export, and the car industry is really very strong, and all the luxury cars like Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and BMW, and so on. It has really a world leading book nation, so you'll find that many people are reading a lot. So Germans likes to read, this is clear. In this country also there was a first magazine was somehow published. It is also one can also argue on this. So you really find a very long word, like and then you have different kinds of many kinds of bread, and then the drinking alcohol is really legal in public places. And number 15, I put an important point that no punishment for a prisoner who tries to escape from jail, because it is a basic human instinct to be free. So that's really tells you that it's a free country, so you have a lot of freedom. So these are the 15 points I actually wrote here, but there are plenty of other reasons one can find and one can write that it's clear. So, but that is not my intention. So my intention is to give you some kind of brief ideas and the overviews of this country as in kind of immigrant from an. So one may tell that from an immigrant scientist perspective, how Germany. So now come to the point. So why Germany? So there are many reasons. There are plenty of reasons one can consider to live here, and one can justify. But I would like to give you at least some 9 points, what I have found quite interesting. So the first of all, this is a country of a blending of socialism and capitalism. So like many other European countries like France and all Scandinavian countries and so and so. So you have a kind of blend. So that means that every citizen has a social security. This is good. Every citizen also has a health security. And if you consider every citizen also has an unemployment benefit. So I think if you compare with United States, for example, so I would say that many people of United States, you'll find that they don't really have even a health insurance, for many people, So I think this is very important. That was actually people have realized that why this kind of system is important during this corona time, coronavirus time. You see how catastrophic situations in the United States. So in general, since I came from India, so I find that these points are very important, and so that's the reason I put these points at number 1. Now let's go to the point number 2. The studying up to the university level is mostly free in Germany. That's quite good, because if you compare some countries like United Kingdom, Australia, or Singapore, or United States of America, where higher education is expensive, it's very much expensive. But on the contrary, like in Germany, you'll find even though the education level is very high, so your education is in the university level, higher education is free. And this is actually very much astonishing, or very important to tell that in India, where from I came, actually that was the state of West Bengal in the eastern part of India. So I also got my education, like masters and bachelors, all are more or less very cheap, very almost close to zero price. So that means that this is a wonderful thing, that studying up to the university level is mostly free. So number 3, I find it that the food inflation is very much regulated and very much controlled in Germany. So for example, if you really try to compare the food prices and the earnings of common people, you will find it immediately that the food inflation or the food price is relatively cheap. Okay, some people I have discussed with many people. Some people complain that okay, the food prices is cheap, but the quality of the food may not be very great. Okay, so one can argue on such things, but at least I would say that food inflation is very much regulated, very much controlled, and the food prices are really cheap. Number 4. I have not seen that people are really wasting our food here. So that's really, I find it quite nice. In general, they try to take as much as they can eat. They take as much as they can drink, and so and so. And this is really, really good. And this is really, I find it very nice. Number 5. I think the tendency of the average German people is very self-sufficient. So I have mixed with many different ages of population, person of Germany. So I have seen that irrespective of the fact they are older or the younger, they have a tendency to do their work on their own. That is really good. In particular, if I compare these things with the India, where labor is relatively cheap, you will find that people are more in the direction of seeking or asking helps to others. But that is relatively contrast to if I see in general in average German people. So since I do physics and I am an experimental physicist, so I am deeply involved in science and technology. So I find it very astonished that German government has a considerable investments in science and technology. That is very important, because any country's economy depends on how much talented or how much educated and how much skilled labor you have. So and education and the investments in science and technology is a kind of long-term investment. So if you consider these things, that it is a long-term investments, in that sense, Germany is really providing, supplying a lot of money, at least for the development of the science and technology. That is really nice. Since I do basic science, fundamental science, from my point of view, I would say that it's really great. Okay, so number 7. In Germany, you have find a lot of many small industries. If you see the DAX, there are all the big companies like Allianz, BASF, and then Bayer, and then Coverstroh, and then you have your Mercedes-Benz, that means the Daimler, the Volkswagen, and then you have Audi, and then BMW, and then you have this Heidelberg Cements and Vonovia. All the big companies are there, all the big giants are there. But that's not the main thing. To have a good economy of a country, you don't necessarily has to have all the time only few big companies. But on the contrary, what you need, in addition to these big companies, you need a lot of small industries. That actually Germany has. So you will find many companies, many industries here in this land. You'll find maybe 50% or 30% percent or 100% or maybe 200%. So these are the small companies, but they are really effective and efficient and producing a lot of engineering things and small equipment, small products, and so on. Second thing, number 8, if you see the German passport, it is actually quite useful nowadays, because the diplomatic relation with Germany to many other countries of different parts of the world are relatively good now. So at least many countries you can visit if you really have a German passport, and so on. And number 9, I find it quite nice that there are in general no restrictions on foods and drinks. this is quite nice, at least because in many countries, many parts of the world, you will find a lot of restrictions of different kinds of foods and drinks and so and so. So therefore we don't see it here. So these are the, I think I also like this point very much. So okay, we can increase the number of points. So I have only given 9. You can increase the number of points. There are many other reasons. This I don't want to discuss now, but at least these are the few points. I find it quite interesting, and it may be useful for others. So far we were discussing about why Germany. Now let's switch the gear and let's discuss why not Germany. Yeah. And first, let me tell you with a quotation by Helmut Schmidt. Yeah, you know, once he stated that Germany is one of the medium powers of the world. It is a non-nuclear power. It is in a lower class than the United States, the Soviet Union, France, and the United Kingdom and others. Helmut Schmidt. I don't know to why he told this kind of sentences, and whether it was his intention, real intention to make these statements, or otherwise, that we don't know. But anyways, so the first point I would like to tell that you know, if you visit many other countries like United States or Japan or United Kingdom, so it is clear that Germany is not a service providing country. Yeah, so they have significantly problem in the service orientations. This is I have realized after visiting many countries also. And when I talk and discuss with many commoners like me, that everybody, you know, wants to be a BMTAR, so that means everybody wants to be a civil servant. That is somehow the things what I have what I have noticed. You know. Number 2, so usually my neighbors, or when I talk with many local people, they usually tell that Arbeit ist die halbe Leben. So if you directly make a translation, so and then you can tell that the work is our half living. Yeah, something like that. So what I have realized after in the different working place here, like university, even in the university, that anxiety-free living is not readily available in many cases. So that means everybody wants to be very perfect. Everybody wants to do things very precisely, and they are thinking a lot about their work, and that's the kind of gives them a little bit anxiety. Because if you all the time think that I want to be best, I have to be perform the best, everything has to be finished in timely, so then you get a kind of anxiety. That I have seen that it may be one thing can happen. So, and which is actually it's a following problem. That means that the pressure of perception is always behind the scenes. So that means everybody thinking a lot about their work, yeah, and that gives him some kind of pressure of perception. So they have a kind of pressure in their mind. You know, there are different kinds of pressure, but this is the kind of to make it really good and to really thinking about your work. That is a kind of pressure of perception. That so. Let's continue a little bit more. What are the other tiny problems? You can tiny problems one may think about. Yeah. So right now the progress of education system, yeah, it can be a little bit. One can think it. Yeah. It's not that the education system is deteriorating here. It's not. Yeah. They are actually maintaining their things, but maybe some other countries they are moving a little bit fast. That could be the reason. So there is a lack of teachers, and these things are coming up, and so this is kind of one problem can appear in future. Yeah. Okay. So point number 5, if you are not proficient in German language, then I think it would be very, very difficult to live here, because okay, if you're working in a Max Planck Institute on the university or big companies, you are mixing with your friends, colleagues. They are mostly international, yeah. So there it should not be any problem. But if you really want to go beyond your periphery and you want to go a little bit mix with the local people and so, then it can be difficult. And there, without the German language, the acceptability, the integration is definitely not easy to do. Number 6, what I've seen that the complaining is a very nice nature of the general public. Yeah? So they like to complain. They like to complain for the improvement, of course, yeah. But sometimes, if you complain too much, yeah, that's also not. I find it not so positive at times. Number 7, the most of the German people, yeah, they all the time wants to follow the rules and regulations. And following rule, yeah, the regel is regel. The following rule is quite good. This is in general positive. But if you all the time follow the instruction, follow the rules, yeah, then somehow it can also bring some kind of problem, and that is not so easy to solve. Number 8, I find it the aging population is really growing. So the way German system works is you see the young generation works, and they really give a lot of taxes, and that taxes money is used for the pensions and so that's the social system, and that's the cyclic process. Now, as long as you have a supply, then they satisfy their needs. But as long as you don't really have that much of supply, then there can be a problem in this whole cyclic process of social structure. So aging population is really growing, and that can be a real problem in 10 or 15 years. So now the car industry, because of the electrifications and so this is the country of export-based economy, and so if the car industry gone down in Germany, there will be many other industries will also be have a significant impact. And number 10, what I have found is that to join a new job, yeah, it's not so easy in Germany, yeah, because why Germany is very good in manufacturing, and because the technical skills are quite good here, yeah, and you do some kind of Ausbildung, so that means some kind of vocational training. Whatever job you do, yeah, you have to have a kind of Ausbildung. You have to have a kind of a vocational training, and without that you cannot really change your job. So that means if you really somehow one job, you lost your one job and you want to switch your field and you want to find a new job, and then you have to do maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years of Ausbildung and vocational training. And that's the reason that it is not so easy to really switch from one job to another in Germany. So these are the main points at this moment I think one can think about. Of course, this is only my ideas, yeah, it's in my opinion, but I think there might be some corrections one can do, and somebody can tell, okay, this is completely wrong. This is also can possible, but this is how I see and how I want to tell about Germany for those who are coming for a short time or the long term, and from different parts of the world and so and so. With this, I would like to conclude this presentation, and I hope you have enjoyed this.